Round one. Fight.
Heroes never die.
I'm Commander Shepard, and this is my favorite store on the Citadel.
I used to be an adventurer like you. Then I took an arrow in the knee.
Power, sex, sex, power. They both come down to one thing.
Hungry Gamers.
Hello, 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 and welcome everyone to the 310th episode of the Hungry Gamers podcast. We are powered by 8bit.net and those sexy audio-based legends over at Audio Technica. Be sure to upgrade your audio game today over at audiotechnica.com. I'm your extremely humble host, Brendan White. You can find me just about everywhere at Brendan8bit. And joining me for the third last episode of 2022, my podcast, Ride or Die, she can be found on them socials at Miss Ali Hart. Miss Ali Hart, how the bloody hell are ya?
You can find me dead like 2 days ago. I am recovering from a nasty sickness. So I do apologize if the audience has to hear a slight cough every now and then.
Yeah, you fooled David Draymond it last weekend. You were in a world of hurt. You were in not the good ways either. You were just struggling. But you're back. So yeah, we're recording a little bit later than usual. Obviously, this time of year it can be pretty crazy and disjointed, and then you throw a big old loogie in that mix as well.
My throat, yeah.
And you know what? We thought let's just take some time and we'll get these final three bumper episodes out in orderly fashion before the Christmas break. So yeah, this episode 310, this is going to be our favourite things. So we're talking strictly, Ali and myself, our favourite things of 2022, and that can encompass anything that was either released in this year or something that we've experienced for the first time in 2022. So there could be some time capsule-y stuff that we might mention that could be from last year, many years ago, whatever it might be, but it's the things that we've experienced for the first time that we really loved and appreciated. So we're not going to be doing any news. We're not really going to be talking about what we've been up to. We're just going to jump in and riff about our favorite stuff. We'll get a quick bit of housekeeping out of the way, and then I guess we could start rocking and rolling through this agenda. What do you reckon, Miss Hart?
Sounds like a good idea.
All right. Obviously, after this episode, we've got 2 more episodes in the chamber. We've got our annual Festivus, the airing of video games grievances, coming out next week. And then we're going to be closing off the year with the community-driven Biddy Awards ceremony. You've still got time to get your votes in for both of those. So head on over to videogamesandculture.com/awards to get those noms in, or check our socials at We Are 8bit to find the direct links to those Google Forms documents to get those opinions and voices heard. Obviously, yeah, videogamesandculture.com is the place for all things 8-bit. And if you want to support us monetarily, ko-fi.com/weare8bit, or get some merch on your person or on your family or friends' persons for Christmas. Shop 8bit.net to get all that tasty 8-bit related merch. But Miss Hart, let's jump in. Let's start things off from a visual perspective. Favorite things we've watched, and we'll start maybe with movies. We'll sort of go around the room here. We've got some bleed over and some similarities, and there's some things I've mentioned that you haven't, or vice versa, that we might have also equally liked. But where do you want to start this discussion off with regarding favorite things we've watched from the film world?
I'm just going to give myself props because I've been known not to be the biggest movie watcher, and I actually had some things to mention. I was honestly concerned that I wasn't going to have anything to mention, but it was a good year considering like hurdles and such, and like delayed releases and pushbacks and such. I got to see a few movies that I've been waiting for, so that was also a plus. I guess I'll start on the list because we both have agreed that this was a favorite of ours, which is Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
So good.
Yeah, and I feel like we're a very, very small group of people who actually enjoy this one. There's a lot of people who hated it and didn't like the angle it went down, which is probably the reason I liked it, maybe, because it wasn't following the standard tropes of most Marvel movies. I liked the darkness. I liked the edginess. It was pretty cool.
I was the same. Like, it was very un-Marvel, and that was probably jarring to the broader Marvel fan base. But, like, you know, we're both Sam Raimi tragics, so maybe there's a little bit of rose-coloured glasses there. But at the same time, I genuinely feel this is a damn good movie. I loved it. I loved that it managed to sort of stretched the limits as far as what they might allow into a Marvel film or a Marvel franchise, where there was some genuine horror elements in here. There was some moments where I jumped and gasped and was a little bit scared, and I love that, and more of that would be phenomenal. I just love anything that Sam Raimi does. Obviously, Elizabeth Olsen was a tour de force as Scarlet Witch. Loved her. Loved Doctor Strange as well. He is always doing his thing on screen. The whole multiverse traversal, and just the variety of the multiverses. Multiverse, I don't know how you pluralize that, but all these distinctive worlds, and then the crazy uniqueness and the weirdness that happens to the characters that they sort of played through in a few little quick cutaway montages and stuff was awesome. And I hope we get more of this. I hope we get more weird and wacky and dark and twisted. And I hope Sam Raimi sort of hangs around and gets to throw his DNA a little bit more into this world and do more with these characters or other characters from a horror element, because it's good. It gets away from not the vanilla tone or narrative beats that Marvel typically follow. That's not, hopefully that's not too disrespectful, but it was very, very different, and I was all for it.
Well, it made me feel a little bit better, although technically now, because a lot of people were going to say that this movie was going to go down a weird route because of people were connecting it to Blade, and although that connection still hasn't been fully established, and then obviously the Blade movie is already
it's in some trouble.
it's one that's hitting hurdles. At that stage, it was giving me confidence. Okay, the Blade movie could actually be really dark and gritty. There's possibility for it there. So, but
I'm hoping so. It needs to be. We need an MA Blade. We need the Wesley Snipes era Blade in that sort of violence and gore and scary.
Yeah.
If we get Morbius level vampire, I'm gonna be fucking pissed.
I've got a bad feel. That was my worry. Was that's how it was gonna go down that route, maybe. But
God, I hope not.
At least we always have the original Blades,
that's
Blade
true.
1, Blade 2.
I respect that you conveniently left Blade 3 off that list.
Don't know what movie you're talking about.
There is some good parts of it, but genuinely that movie kind of sucks. But the next one on your list, I'm with you in lockstep too. You've got Black Phone on your list too. Ethan Hawke just crushing the game with those two very talented child actors as well.
Oh, everyone, the cast was incredible and well casted, and as well as the overall tone and vibe for the movie. And now I even have a weird even more respect for the movie after reading the short story it was based off. I had this concern that maybe because people said that it was quite different from the short story, and I'm oh no, was the story even better? Did this movie have potential to be better? But I actually think what they did with this small story and then elaborated on and took a deeper dive and did some different turns and such, I think that they did way better. And I'm just so ecstatic that I finally got the movie. It was one that I felt had been pushed back for quite some time, and I was always waiting for it. But yeah, and then the fact that it came out and it was great, really well done, and yeah, for any horror fans or anyone in that tone, I definitely think watch Black Phone. It was really good. It's
well worth the time. The only thing that irked me is Australia swinging back to decades ago where we get releases several months after they come out in America. Yes, so we had to wait for a while for Black Phone, but it was well worth the wait because, it was creepy, it was heartfelt, it was emotional, there was some great horror and sort of thriller beats in there, but there was also some lighthearted moments and some just genuinely great acting that sort of carried that movie. There was only a small handful of characters on the screen throughout the 90-ish minute runtime, but it was really good. And yeah, I don't know if they'll ever do anything more with that franchise. It feels like it's probably one and done after that, but it was a great 90 minutes ish worth of viewing, and highly recommended from films that came out this year. That's for damn sure.
Definitely. Then my next one is Bullet Train. This action movie, it's this incredible stylized action movie that I still feel like a lot of people maybe either don't know about or didn't really give any consideration for whatever reason. I'm so happy when I see people kind of go and say, oh, actually, I saw Bullet Train. It's actually pretty good. I really enjoyed it. because like I don't think it has the same caliber as like high intensity action films where they get accolades and nods and all that sort of stuff, like, you know, your Tom Cruise action films. But I still stand by it is still in the same vein as movies like Smoking Aces, like tropey characters that have their own style and character and story, and all these weird groups kind of coming together in a centralized place, not necessarily for the same reasons or cause, but all their stories kind of entwining and twists and turns in the narrative. And it was a great cast of characters and an incredible bunch of actors. And it was such a stunning, good-looking movie for like how action films are usually quite dull. I just like what they did with it. You can tell there's obviously moments where they were restricted, obviously based because of the times on, you know, probably set design and stuff like that. There was probably a lot of repetition and reuse of set, obviously because it was on a train, but more or less I still enjoyed it, loved it, and I will still recommend it to anyone that's into like action film that they don't want to take too seriously.
Yeah, like it's fantastic. Like it's very stylized. Like it's not on the same tone or sort of the same narrative beats as like a John Wick, but it is very slick and polished from a cinematography perspective, where they're using, you know, pops of color and neon and really cool art pieces amongst the combat, and just like you said, that sort of bridging narrative where you've got a dozen or so different characters all intertwined, and then you get little nuggets of their backstory and how they might know each other through certain other events. And I love seeing that sort of tapestry get weaved together in a movie, like, and it's really cool, and it's a fun way to tell stories or multiple stories in that singular overall narrative. The combat was great. The cast, yeah, phenomenal.
Brilliant.
You know, I love Brad Pitt. I can't remember half the other actors and actresses' names, but like everyone that was in that movie was just dynamite. And I like the tone too. Like, yeah, it was violent and there was some, you know, pretty horrific death scenes and things in that, but there was also like some lighthearted comedy in there, but then some heart in there when you're sort of connecting some of the revenge plots and the reasons why they are the way they are. And yeah, super fun. It's like the definition of a popcorn movie, but it's a really, really good popcorn movie.
Yeah.
The next one.
Yeah, this one's for both of us. Prey. What a like hidden like this out of nowhere, just a blessing for us, for our fan base of, you know, Alien Predator fan base. And the other shocker was it was incredibly well done. It was really, really well done. Yeah,
for the audio listeners, I sort of did a thank you pray to the gods, because this, like, when it's all said and done, like, it might have been my favorite movie of the year, just because I think, like you said, as sort of longtime fans of that, you know, Predator and Alien world, you know, we've had our hearts trodden on many times with things that they've released, and the expectations were high, but I think the realization in our minds was like, there's a chance this is going to be another just piece of crap. And then it came out and it was just everything great and then some. Like the cast was fantastic. Amber Midthunder as the lead Naru was really good. Like Dan Trachtenberg and his cinematography using the, you know, the real world environments and locations. It was really pretty to look at. The feral predator they introduced in this was just this big imposing giant beast. And yeah, I've watched this movie a couple of times this year. I think I've watched it 4 times now. 3 times. I've gone back and done a few repeat viewings, and it's the only movie of this year that I've watched more than once, and it's just super fun. Like, I think it's 90-ish minutes as well, but it just has a good pace.
Yeah.
The story is well played out. There's some great arcs that you see with some of the characters, and I hope, whether we get more in this direct universe or this direct timeline, but I hope we get more Dan Trachtenberg with Predator, because I loved what he did. And yeah, I'm feeling hopeful again for these franchises. No doubt I'll probably get hurt in the future with potentially this Alien TV show that they're working on, but for now, I'm on cloud 9.
Yeah. I mean, like, there was a lot of things where I was kind of tongue-in-cheek saying that, like, Alien vs. Predator established this kind of theme of the predators visiting the Earth space years and years and years before, and saying that, see, it was a great idea. But yeah, everything about it, like I always enjoy when a movie can be bloody gory, but also set in such a beautiful landscape and environment, and then also having it all has a important part of the overall story as well. I am curious how they develop the franchise from here. Obviously it was a great success. Everyone loved it. So I don't think anyone will be moving the franchise away from the original creators and such of that movie, the director anyway. So, yeah, interesting. Are we still going to be in Predator, Back to the Future or whatever? Like,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
we'll see.
They'll eternally get blood out of these stones, like, because
Always.
they know people will turn up in droves, whether it be through streamers or through, physical, cinema viewings. But yeah, Alien and Predator, they're two of the largest IP, especially in the science fiction world. So they'll keep going back to that well, but I think they've got a formula here that can work, or at least a visionary that could maybe plan this out for the next several films, whether it be we're jumping, another little time jump 50 years ahead or 100 years ahead or whatever it's going to be, because they did reference things in these movies. And there's some Easter eggs there that connect to stuff like in Predator 2 with the pistol that Danny Glover gets and all that kind of thing. So there is now a connected world that they're paying homage to, but we'll see. We'll see. I'd love to see more Robert Rodriguez's Predators again, back on that hunting planet with Big Adrian Brody and his giant nose. But I don't think we'll ever get more of that, which makes me sad.
Well, I'm kind of okay with that.
Come on now. I'm okay with the next movie on your list, and I feel silly for not including it as well, but the Batman.
Yeah, the Batman, and like that's a big deal for me. I'm the most critical on the DC universe and how it's portrayed, and while I still don't stand by that the Batman being perfect, I think of all the movie renditions that we've been seeing, it's definitely is my favorite, like, of those. There's a lot of things attached to it that I'm excited for. There's just a bunch of characters that I think were done justice, and were done right. I think that the overall vibe, like the overall aesthetic was done appropriately. I always have that issue with setting these comic book movies in the real world, so I think they disconnected enough to kind of establish their own comic book world. So, but we'll see, obviously, with future movies or future attachments if they happen. But yeah, the Batman made the list because I was actually pleasantly surprised by what I did enjoy in the movie. So
was one of the highlights of that movie when he says, "I'm vengeance."
Never.
Vengeance.
Usually,
No.
to be fair, Batman is hardly ever the highlight of Batman stuff for me. So
Yeah, I think that movie, definitely the highlights were the villains or the anti-heroes. Like Catwoman was great. Obviously the Penguin. The Penguin's probably the standout for me, and I can't wait to see that spin-off TV show we get with the Penguin, and then we're getting the Arkham Asylum spin-off as well on TV, which is exciting to see. Well, unless James Gunn and his now vision might change things, because they be ripping pages out of that manuscript in a big way at the moment. Like, the drama listeners that is unplaying through various social media posts and things, as far as things getting cancelled, Wonder Woman 3 getting scrapped just after Gal Gadot was sort of saying how excited she was to see what happens with the next evolution of the character. Then Patty Jenkins says, "You know what? Fuck you, DC, I'm out. This is what a story arc looks like," with the little Oxford Dictionary description, as they say. No, like, it is great, but it's also horrific because, I don't know what's going to happen with a lot of these franchises now.
Yeah, to be fair, does anyone remember what happened in the last movie?
I do. It wasn't very good. It's a shame, because the first Wonder Woman was very special, and then 1984 was not special. But anyway, Pedro Pascal was great in it.
God, wasn't he?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what his grand plan is with the DC universe and how it's all going to play out over the coming decade or so. But good list. I am in complete lockstep with you there. A few that I've got on my list that weren't on yours as well that I'll quickly mention. Everything Everywhere All at Once, which was written and directed by the Daniel Kwan and Daniel Schneidart. I really, really enjoyed this. I know you were sort of about it when you watched it.
It was for me.
But I was all in. Michelle Yeoh as the lead, fantastic. Jamie Lee Curtis is like the villain in a way, fantastic. The way that they tackle and handle multiverses, really loved it. I was on this roller coaster. I was all in right from the jump on that film, and it's one of my favorite things I've watched in a good long while. And then the other one I wanted to mention, it is not a perfect film by any stretch of the imagination. It is not going to win an Oscar award. But I wanted to shout out Terrifier 2, obviously written and directed by Damien Leone, one of the most splatterfest horror films that I can just about ever remember seeing. Laura Rivera as Sienna Shaw, a little bit of a hero coming out party there as the new final girl around the internet that everyone seems to love. And then David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown, the psychotic killfest machine who does horrible things to many a person in that over 2-hour runtime. It is just choppy and gross and full of sinew and appendages getting removed and viscera, and because it's all practical effects done on a shoestring budget, like what they were managed to do with that amount of money is, testament to everyone involved, but also the fact that this has been one of the biggest hits of the year, where it's done, I think, close to $15 million now for a movie on like a budget of $200,000. So they are killing the game. And Terrifier 3 is no doubt on its way soon. But anyone with a bit of a strong stomach that likes a bit of horror, a bit of gore, check out Terrifier 2. Anyone not with a strong stomach, take this as a warning that you might feel a bit uncomfortable in a few of these scenes, because people be getting fucked up in a whole host of horrible ways.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get around to this one. Maybe I've got a pretty good stomach for gore and stuff, so I should be fine to watch it. I'll just have to make some time for it.
Yeah, it's B grade in every sense of the word, but that is that's a positive adjective. Like, I'm not saying that it's crappy. Like, it is great. It is, but just go into it. It's not going to be a AAA, but it's going to impact you probably a lot more than most AAAs will. So Terrifier 2 available on a whole host of streamers. You can get Blu-rays and things as well. But let's keep talking about things we've watched, and maybe we'll shift focus into the TV show section here. As is tradition, we've got some bleed over again. We've got some similarities. There's some ones on my list that I forgot to add that you've got on there too, which I'm very thankful for. So the first one I guess we got together is The Boys.
Yeah, the one.
Better late than never, Miss Hart. Bloody hell.
Yeah, and just I will give everyone their just desserts. You were all correct. You were all right. It was good. I did enjoy it. I'm still catching up. I did put it down. Third season, is that where I'm at?
That's good. Nearly up to date.
I did see that they're kind of having a spin-off now with the college students or high school students or something. So I hope that doesn't get amongst it and ruin anything for me. But The Boys was a good surprise. Right amount of comedy, action, heart, and a little bit of blood and gore when needed. But I understand why people told me to watch it, and I finally did and wasn't disappointed. I can see why it's so popular.
It's so good. Like, obviously, amongst the hysteria and just the general love of anything to do with superheroes in general through Marvel and DC, The Boys and what Garth Ennis created through his comics back in the day is very unlike the Marvel and DC, which I think probably helps it stand apart a little bit more and sort of elevate the content. But it's so good. 3 seasons now. The latest season was really great. Billy Butcher is still just the anchor that carries this show. Like, Carl Urban is just phenomenal in this show. You love him, you hate him, everything else in between. Yeah. In every episode, just about. You go from, I love you, Billy, to Billy, fuck you, to now we're neutral again. Like, it's so good, and I can't wait for more of The Boys, because we've got a 4th season getting done at the moment. We've got the spin-off of like the high school college era, tying into the Supes Academy almost, I think is what it weaves into. I don't really know the actual like full synopsis on that, but it's so great. It's on Prime Video. There's a lot of great stuff on Prime Video, and The Boys is certainly one of my favorites on there, and you got to check it out. Anyone that hasn't, it's so good.
Learn
It's
from
very
my
adult.
mistakes.
Don't watch it with your kids, that's for sure.
Yeah.
unless you want your kids to see and hear some things that they probably might not want to see at that age. But it's so great.
Don't be like me. Watch it as fast as you can.
Yes.
I mean,
Love that.
speaking of superheroes, anti-heroes,
Yeah, valid.
Peacemaker.
Yes. One of the best new things on TV.
I couldn't believe
years.
like it looked good, and I was like, all right, let's see what this is about. Like, not only was it a fantastic series that absolutely just like blew me off my feet, and every episode just constantly good, great pacing, great amount of action, comedy, great characters from like every character, you know, like I just couldn't believe how much of a turnaround on my opinion on John Cena like happened because of like him in this like with this role of like Peacemaker. Like, I was so like certain that he was just going to be like another Rock, and I was like, I'm not going to care about this guy. He's just trying too hard, you know, to be an actor. Like, why is he bothering? But I'm sold now. Like, I'm completely sold on the guy.
I'm all in too. Like Peacemaker, like the sprinkling of the character we got through the Suicide Squad movie was a great sort of entree, I guess, to what to expect with him. And then when they announced the show, I'm like, how are they going to do a whole show about this character?
This guy, yeah.
And then they drop this thing, and James Gunn and his DNA is all over this. So you've got that tone and that familiarity with how he shoots things. And it
Killer
is
soundtrack.
so great. Yeah, the soundtrack is great. It's got one of the best intros to a TV show I've ever seen. Like, I'm usually, once I've seen it a few times, you know, like you think of Game of Thrones where the intro goes for 7 days.
Yeah.
You skip it, but this, every single time I watch not James Gunn, I watch John Cena and Eagly and everyone else jumping in and doing their dances and no selling any emotion, but just dancing like their life depends on it. And it's so great. I can't wait for season 2 to come out because I'm curious where this show is going to go. The first season, though, was dynamite, and it's one of the best new shows to come out in many years.
Yeah, I would kind of want to rewatch it. Like, I just remember it just being like just great episode after episode. And plus, like I said, the soundtrack's really good. Like, some of those songs are on my gym workout playlist, so pretty awesome.
He's old Peacemaker's got a love for like 80s and 90s early metal and stuff like that, and there is some bangers playing throughout the I think, what was it, 10 episodes? I think it was 10 episodes or so.
Yeah,
feels about right.
I think I was kind of sad by the time when I found out it was over. So
yeah, but it's so good, and yeah, more of that. Like, if that's what the DC universe is going to consist of, stuff like that, like with that type of tone, I'm all in. Let's go.
it's so funny, isn't it? Like, I still stand by the statement that if DC wants to do well, they should just keep focusing on like the villains. Like, Suicide Squad has done incredibly well. Harley Quinn as a character in general has just done incredibly well from the movies, and then obviously her animated series. And then we have Peacemaker here that was just phenomenal and everyone loved it. Like, you know, like, he's not necessarily a villain, but you know what I mean. But yeah, I just let's see more of this. Let's dive into more characters with wacky backgrounds and start and find out why they are.
Completely agree. And like we mentioned, it's not on our respective lists for the TV show's piece, but obviously the 3rd season of Harley Quinn, the animated show that you just mentioned, came out too. I don't think it was as strong overall as the first 2 seasons. I still really enjoyed it, but I don't think it was as strong as the first 2, but that series as a whole is really great. Like, it is also showing what DC can do if they worry less about trying to cater to the little kiddies and, like you said, lean into the villains, the anti-heroes, and more of the mature content. That's where their sweet spot is, and this show is so good. So, yeah, that's available. I think all 3 seasons are now on binge here in Australia. So, check that out if you haven't already, because it's great.
Yeah. Also, I was surprised to see this wasn't on your list either. The Welcome to Wrexham.
Yeah, I facepalmed when I saw that too, and I'm like, how did I forget that? But I'm like, I figured I'll talk about it with you anyway, because this is also one of the surprise hits of the year for many a person. Like, there's so many non-soccer or football fans that we know collectively that could not give a rat's about soccer or football, but they are so invested in Wrexham due to this show and due to what Rob and Ryan have brought to Disney Plus with this documentary about them buying this struggling football club. And it's so good. I can't wait for more.
It's so like it's so wholesome and full of heart, and I never saw myself like being really like attached or concerned or invested in a soccer/football team. But what they've done in directing this little documentary and how they did the episodes and how they structured everything, and then obviously having people as charismatic as Ryan Reynolds in there, like with narration and such, like. It's just been so well done, and yeah, I just want to know more. I want to see how they go in the next season, and that one was a bit of a surprise. I didn't think I was going to love it as much as I did. So
Yeah, made me laugh, made me cry, made me feel all the emotions. I'm so invested in this lowly little football club now. Like I still don't watch any current games or like keep up to the score because I like the unknown of knowing that I could go into season 2 and have like a full roller coaster ride instead of watching going, oh, I know that they don't actually win this or they get relegated or whatever happens. So I'm still sort of distancing myself from the actual real world scores that are happening today. But yeah, I can't wait for it because it's just such an unusual story, but I am there every step of the way.
yeah, it's great. The Legend of Vox Machina.
I left this off my list too because I'm an idiot, but I'm completely with you.
So, like, I'm also going to kind of just throw this overall into TV shows because there's nowhere else for me to put it. I went on a massive Critical Role binge, and I am now up to date with everything. I've watched all their stuff, and so now I'm fully up to date. Now I got to find a D&D show to watch. People saying Dimension 20, so I'll probably go there. But I just wanted to give Critical Role credit because I've God knows how many hours it was. Like
Hundreds.
I just finished their second campaign, which was 141 episodes, and each episode usually goes for about 4 hours. So
maybe 1,000 plus hours you've probably watched.
It'd have to be, yeah. But like I also finished started and finished their first campaign as well, and now I'll just have to keep weekly updating on their current third campaign. So, but yeah, they released their own animated series based on the first campaign, The Legend of Vox Machina. And it was brilliant. It was great. I was really, really worried for them, releasing their own animated series based on characters and stories that they created themselves. But from what I've seen, just like people who are not even fans of the, tabletop community or anything like that, like they enjoyed it genuinely themselves. So we'll be getting the second season this January next year.
Damn.
So we're looking forward to that arc of the story. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed everything about Legend of Vox Machina, the design, how they condensed their story and how they told it, and I just want to see more and more and more of their stories animated. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I don't have any real attachment to Critical Role still. It's something that I know I need to jump into eventually, but the Legend of Vox Machina was a nice entry into that world for me. And yeah, I loved that series. Another banger on Prime Video. Really, really well written, well animated, well voiced as well.
Yes.
And the story and the arc that it goes on from both a broad and then a narrow lens with characters is really great. It's funny, it's heartwarming, it's sad, it's horrific, it's crude, it's crass, all those types of words. And it's so good. And yeah, I can't believe the second season's coming out next month.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this one, I think it came out at like January, February this year. So we've been waiting essentially a year for second season to kind of roll through. So, but yeah, it's just so brilliant. Like the best way to describe it is like Saturday morning cartoons that you grew up with, but it's for you now, for your age group. Like it's for adults or, a more mature audience. So, and they've just done it brilliantly.
Yeah, no, I'm completely in lockstep with you there. And then the last one is also an absolute banger. I got onto this one because of you and your praise.
Yeah. Our Flag Means Death. Just I was getting like random ads for it and like seeing like Rhys Darby in this like dapper young gentleman's outfit being on a pirate ship and wanting to be a pirate captain, and this weird ragtag group of pirates who've gone under his command and him trying to like figure it all out. And then like it's just, I never expected this wacky tale to be so full of heart and love and understanding, and there's just a lot of themes throughout it that I think they handle really, really well without kind of making it a big deal, if that makes sense. And it was such a lighthearted series that I'm looking forward to the second series, which I think they've already been greenlit for. It was such a surprise. It's such a sweet little series based on pirates and, you know, chasing things that you think you want and then maybe realizing ain't exactly what you thought it was going to be, and being your true self and what you know, who you think you really are, and everything that kind of like lies beneath. So it was it was a great surprise, and I definitely recommend it.
It was so great, and like Taika, Reese, and the broader cast and writing crew involved. It's just it's more of that good stuff. If you like anything that Taika's done, it's got, you know, similar writing style, similar tones, and pacing. So you know, another show that was also great, we got another season of this year, was What We Do in the Shadows.
Of course.
This season was great. That show just keeps going from strength to strength, and it's just phenomenal. A couple that I'll quickly mention as well. Andor. This was a pleasant surprise for me. Like I'm a big Star Wars fan, but like, this is very un-Star Wars is the easiest way to describe it. Like, yeah, it leans more into spy warfare and espionage and stuff. There's not a lightsaber in sight. There's not a Skywalker in sight, which I'm all for. And it's some of the best Star Wars they've ever made, in my opinion. It is an absolute tour de force. It starts slow. Like, anyone that's yet to experience it, the first few episodes are pretty dense as far as character introductions and revealing and explaining motives and how the story is going to play out. But after those first two episodes, it just sets out on a great pace and has some of the best television you'll just about ever see from that Star Wars world. So Andor, really good. Looking forward to the second season whenever that drops. We've obviously got the prequel from the Game of Thrones universe with House of the Dragon, sort of seeing what happened with the downfall with the Targaryens and what have you.
I need to watch that.
You know, anyone that's a fan of Game of Thrones will be a big fan of House of the Dragon. It's got all those same things you love: the debauchery, the nudity, the violence, the sex, the incest, all that kind of stuff that Thrones fans turn up for. The dragons, yep, lots of dragons. So many dragons in House of the Dragon, obviously with the name there, but really, really good. Very well written, very well acted. They could probably use a couple of little brightness bump ups in certain scenes, because there's a lot of dark, a lot of monotone, and dark textures and shades that can make it sort of hard to see what's going on in darkly lit lounge rooms.
But hides the CG.
It does hide the CG. And on that CG side, you know, it's funny because these sort of came out and were releasing in parallel with one another. We're talking about another high fantasy show I want to shout out, and that's Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. So Power was dropping on the Fridays, House of the Dragon was dropping on the Mondays here for Australia, and seeing the tonal shift going from gore and violence and incest to, you know, lighter versions of that, I guess you could say, in the Lord of the Rings world, but also seeing, like, on that CG talk where, you know, Game of Thrones, Rings of Power, they both look great, but Rings of Power, like, you could see that multi-billion-dollar budget well in use there, because it's one of the prettiest things you'll ever see on screen. Like, it is stunning, stunning, stunning. And getting the story laid out for us as far as what happened many years before the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, and seeing sort of, I guess, how Sauron came to be and all that kind of stuff. It's really, really cool. And I can't wait for more of this. Obviously, they've shot 2 seasons. The second season's coming out next year, and they've got plans for multiple, but I don't know if they will see it through because it's costing them so much goddamn money.
Yeah.
But I loved it. I loved it. It's also got some really great big epic warfare moments and, you know, big battle scenes like you used to from Lord of the Rings. You still haven't watched any Rings of Power yet, have you?
I watched like the first episode and got bored with it, so I won't be going back.
You gotta.
No, I don't care about. I really don't care about Lord of the Rings. It's the one I don't care about.
Okay, that's fair then. That's fair. And the last one I wanted to shout out is She-Hulk: Attorney at Law. Mm-hmm. Very, very un-Marvel. Like I know we said that earlier with Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, but this is very un-Marvel in the fact that it's a serialized law comedy show where there's fourth walls constantly getting broken and monologues getting exchanged with the audience, and Jennifer Walters who is She-Hulk. Really, really great. Love the tone, love the quirkiness and the uniqueness of this show. The finale, it could have been better, but leading up to that, fantastic. And there was some really, really cool moments and characters they introduce or interact with that has me excited for where this could go, because I could watch this show for decades. Like, if this was just its own serialized standalone thing where it's weaving in B-part superheroes and villains with Jen trying to struggle as an attorney while also being She-Hulk, I was all for it. Like, I love that it was real and relatable in a way. Kind of weird to say when it's about a woman that has She-Hulk abilities, but I was all for it. Tatiana Maslany, who played Jen Walters, was really great in that role, and it was funny and heartfelt and sad and real, and I could not get enough of She-Hulk. What was your... Oh, have you finished it all now? You've watched it all, right?
Yeah, I watched it all, bedridden. But yeah, that was definitely one of those ones where I had to kind of get past the first few episodes and get over that and realize exactly what they were doing with the overall tone of the show, and understanding that they actually were being true to the comics, and that would technically be something that I would appreciate. So giving it an actual chance and continuing on, I thought it was good. It was a very good, lighthearted series.
I agree. So hope we get more. I really do, because I loved that world they built out and the concept itself. I think it's very quirky, very memorable. But I was all in on that one. All right, something that I'm also all in on is the next favorite things subset, and we're going to talk about our favorite things we've watched from an anime perspective. And I could just cheat and say everything. I love all of the anime. I cannot get enough. I consume series like I'm eating bowls of cereal at the moment. Like, I cannot stop. I have a genuine problem. But Miss Hart, did you want to send a few of your anime recs?
I'll just go through my very extensive list. I'll just run down. Jujutsu Kaisen was a shocker for me. My husband put it on, and I was very invested in it, and I still need to finish it. But I liked the tone. I liked the overall vibe of it, so it was pretty good. Cyberpunk Edgerunners was pretty good. I actually really enjoyed the overall style of that and the overall vibe. I'm getting an itch to go back to Cyberpunk, and then obviously new content that we've heard about, so I'll probably be going back very soon.
Idris Elba's in the new DLC now.
I hope he's romanceable. So Cyberpunk Edgerunners was a pleasant surprise. I honestly wasn't anticipating it being as good as it was, and obviously well received as it was. So, props to them. And then, as I've recently mentioned in recent episodes, Dorohedoro. Absolutely.
You finished it now?
No, I haven't. I'm like an episode away. I was like binge watching, and then everything kind of, my world fell apart. But it's brilliant. I love it. I can't believe something like this has been so far away from my my eyes and my viewership. So I'm obsessed with it. I'm everything about it. I've already started looking for merch for it. I'm looking for stickers for my water bottle, and just so I can kind of project out there how much I loved this anime series. I've never witnessed an anime that is very much my vibe. So.
It's good to know. It is a great watch, and I'm happy that it's sort of hooked you the way it has, because there's a lot of very alley anime or TV series or movies out there, but this one certainly is sunk its reptilian claws into you, you could say, and it's so great. I'm with you, Cyberpunk. Yes. Hopefully no mushrooms grow on your person soon, though. That would be not good. Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I'm with you. It's a pleasant surprise. I had the bug bite me afterwards as well, and I jumped straight back into Cyberpunk 2077 and played a bit more and mucked around with some of the DLC and missions that they've sort of weaved in off the back of Edgerunners, and seeing some of those nods and characters getting referenced was awesome. It was great. Netflix has got some real powerhouse anime on there these days, and another one in a completely different style of powerhouse that I watched on Netflix, which I was a little bit late to the party. It's called Komi Can't Communicate. It is the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen in my life, just about.
Okay.
It's about so it's it's set in a Japanese high school, and there's this gorgeous girl who's the most prettiest thing you've ever seen, but she's got severe bouts of social anxiety and she can't talk to anybody. So anyone that tries to talk to her, she freaks out, doesn't know how to communicate. So she befriends this one boy in class, and they start writing through notes to interact with each other. And her goal by the end of high school is to make 100 friends. And so he's helping her try and befriend people, but then it's like they're all like trying to talk to her and she can't, and she freaks out and she has all these moments. But it's super cute, super heartfelt, and I binged all this in the span of like a day because I chucked it on and just could not get enough. And oh my God, it is so cute. And it's something I think you might vibe with. I think like it's completely different tonally to a Dorohedoro.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But it's just cute and relatable and grounded, and it was just the best. Chainsaw Man is ongoing at the moment. We're at episode 9 of the anime. I know you've sort of fallen off the Chainsaw wagon.
Yeah.
But hopefully you come back to it because I'm loving everything about this show. The tone, the violence, the demons, and the all kinds of creepy crawlers that they're fighting and dealing with on the daily. The comedy, yes, there is a lot of just wanting to grab boob in the beginning. It is a bit sleazy in that way, but the lead character, he's only a 16-year-old boy who's never kissed a girl, never interacted with a girl. So he's, I just think to be young and horny at 16, that's probably how a lot of us would carry on. Other ones, Love After World Domination came out. Mentioned this a few times over the year. It's anime that is, the easiest way to say it's like anime Power Rangers, but think of one of the Power Rangers falling in love with one of the villains from Rita Repulsa's crew. So they're dealing with that romance while also trying to, I guess, keep up with their image as far as being a supervillain and a superhero. So it's cute, it's whimsical, it's fantastic. The Quintessential Quintuplets is another one I want to mention. Oh my God.
That's a recent one, isn't it?
It is a recent one, and the film's out at the moment. I'm hopefully going to go see that tomorrow. I tried to last weekend, but it didn't happen. And it's about this young guy at school who's trying to tutor these 5 quintuplet sisters, and trying to get their grades up, because if they fail, they're going to get kicked out of this school. So it's working with that, but then over time they all sort of progressively start catching feelings for this guy. And he ends up marrying one of them, but you don't know which one. So it's sort of like, who's he going to end up with? So there's like a lot of, breadcrumbs and misdirects going on, but super fun, super heartfelt. Rent a Girlfriend is another one.
Great name.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Great tone. Lonely university student gets broken up by his first girlfriend, the love of his life, after like a month. He's devastated. So to try and make her jealous, he finds this like rental girlfriend advertisement online, starts going on in air quotes dates with like a rental girlfriend, starts to catch feelings for her, and then hijinks ensue from there. It's great. Spy Family, just about one of the biggest anime on the planet these days.
Everyone
everywhere. But like, it's great. Like, it's, throwback, pseudo Europe espionage spy family trying to infiltrate this sort of European power family. So they bring this fake family together as far as a spy. He then gets a fake wife who he doesn't know is actually an assassin by trade. And then their daughter Anya can actually read minds. So like, they all have their own stories, but they don't know that they're actually, not who they seem to be. But obviously Anya knows everything because she can read her mum and dad's minds. And it's just cute. It's funny. It's adorable. It's great. The other one, I got to thank you for this because you brought this one to the table way back when. Your boy Kong Ming, which you still haven't watched.
I still haven't
right?
watched it. Like, I'm the one that like found like the snippets and the intro music. I was like, you have to see this. This looks great. And I'm still the one that hasn't watched it.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with this anime. Like, the first season, 12 episodes done and dusted. The 12th episode actually dropped in subversion today. So I've watched it through in dubbed version. Sorry, I've watched it through sub twice already, and I've watched the dub all the way up until now. So I'm very intimate with Aiko and Kong Ming and the crew. But it's just so fun. The concept of like a Chinese military tactician from like the 8th century or whatever it was getting teleported to present time, hearing Aiko sing a song and then sort of saying, I'm going to be your strategist to make you the biggest pop star in the world, and managing her through all this stuff is just So great. It's funny. It's heartfelt. The animation style is great. The soundtrack fucking bangs. I play this soundtrack so much. Like my Spotify Wrapped, when I look at it now, half of it is songs from your boy Kong Ming. Like, and I have no regrets. It's great. And then the last one I wanted to mention, this one shattered me into a million pieces. There's another one I binged all 24 episodes in a singular day, and it's called Your Lie in April. I've got all the manga in front of me, or over there, all 11 books in the manga series. And yeah, I was not emotionally prepared for this one. Like, I cried for hours watching this, happy tears, sad tears, and by the time I got to bed, my eyes were on fire and dried up and crusty and gross. But it's beautiful. It's about two high school kids sort of, developing a friendship over their love for music. And obviously there's some other things that play out in the background that add more emotional depth and stakes to the show. But it's so great. And the theme song was also heavily in my Spotify Wrapped by a band called Goose House, and the song's called Milk. It's just a fucking banger. I couldn't tell you a word that they sing, but like the beat is fantastic.
Sorry, I'm really gonna go off. What was the anime that has that Daddy Daddy Do song that I got randomly recommended while I was playing like Destiny or Overwatch? And I'm like, this song is amazing, but it's an anime intro.
Oh, was that and it's not even on my list. Was that on Love is War?
That's it. That's the one. Yeah. Also
fantastic. Like, there's a million other anime I could mention here, and I've actually been putting together like a live shared document as far as anime that I'm getting real deep into, because there's so many things. Like, I'm trying to work out how much anime I watched this year, and the short version is an awful lot, but the long version is it'll be available in a document that you can peruse at your own time in the near future. But yeah, so much good stuff. So much good stuff. Crunchyroll, I love you so much. Something else that we love so much, obviously characters from film, from TV, from games, from anime. Miss Hart, who were your favourite characters that you experienced in 2022?
Okay, first off, we're starting off with Vigilante from Peacemaker. What a wonderfully wacky, complex character. I just adored him and his like thought process and his awkward friendship he has with Peacemaker, and then also his views on violence, and then being a hero, and who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, and what qualifies that, and then him just going absolute like crazy. Like, he had ability, he could actually go like, he could fight pretty decently. So I just adored that character, and I'm looking forward to seeing like what becomes of him in the next season too. So I also just love how nicely put together the actor actually is. Like, Adrian Chase, I think he's British too.
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah, so it was just interesting to see that contrast, which is always good to see too, because you're like, oh, you are a really good actor, because I fully believed this. So so Vigilante gets one of my points of Character of the Year for me. My second one is White Death in Bullet Train. So obviously a lot of you are not going to know who this character is, and I can't actually, because of it, I can't really go into too much detail about this character. I'm not actually going to say who the actor is, because I feel like that reveal is also pretty...
It's a big reveal.
Yeah, pretty prominent. So, but a character throughout the story, as you're watching the movie, there's a lot of allusion, a lot of like discussion about this infamous like mob boss cross Yakuza member kind of character, and there's a lot of mystery that finally gets resolved at the end, and it's a great reveal, and definitely not expected. So White Death is one of my favorite characters of this year,
for sure.
The Penguin in the Batman, Colin Farrell
nailed it, didn't he?
Incredible. When like I'm sure I was a doubter when I first heard that he was going to play the Penguin. I assume I was, because I'm usually pretty negative, especially when it comes to Batman stuff. But I just could not believe how incredibly well he did with this character, and how he encapsulated a lot of stuff that made the Penguin, but also added like his own vibe to it as well. Like he just became this character and he played it well, and then obviously established himself enough that he's getting his own. Is it a series?
TV spin-off. Yeah, he's getting a series.
So
it's gonna be sick.
Yeah. So and obviously, like I always say, big fan of the Batman villains. So to see it executed so well, it always gives me a little bit more hope in the franchise, saying like, yes, you can do it. You can do things well. Please keep doing it. And look, use this as a reference. So yeah, that's to Colin Farrell as the Penguin. My other character is Noi?
That's how I pronounce it.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Dorohedoro. Noi is this character who is this big, strong female character who, when you first kind of see this character, everyone thinks it's a guy because of how big and muscular and tough she is. But then underneath this, like, you know, menacing mask and physique is this incredibly gorgeous, you know, female character who is strong and respects her mutuals and like levels of like combat and strength and everything like that. And it was just so great to see a character like this. And then I obviously made the joke online that I now have a fitness goal, which will be, I don't know how I'm going to grow to. I think she's like 8 foot. I think they said
the height's going to be tough.
I don't know. I'll get some stilts, but you know, the strength factor is definitely there. So she's a big inspiration on the gains for me now. And my last favorite character is Savathun from Destiny 2. Deborah Wilson, I think, from Mad TV is, I think, one thing she was in, I believe. But she's also done a lot of voice work. She was in the Jedi game, I believe.
Mm-hmm. In Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah, I think that was the one. But yeah, either way, the character in general, menacing, complex, very strong motives, but just an incredible character that was introduced to the Destiny franchise, where we have a lot of these big bads. But this character, like Savathun, just stood out on her own, especially with what they were establishing in the universe of a bigger evil. But this character just was her own, and they obviously made an entire DLC to, you know, follow her story, which was an incredible story. And I had Savathun as like my wallpaper and stuff like that, just because I loved the way that they've designed her. I loved her evolution. I loved her storytelling that was in her campaign. And yeah, just an overall great, another great female character to kind of follow. So those were my
Excellent
favorite
list.
characters.
Are you excited for future Destiny 2 content dropping in February after the little teaser trailer that they showcased at the Game Awards yesterday?
So much stuff. I like the environment. I like this like neon synthwave cyber kind of universe that they've kind of established. So it should be interesting. I hope it's good.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a ton of fun. Wonder if Bill Clinton makes a cameo in that game or not. We'll find out. That's so bizarre. I love that some little kid somehow got on stage and shouted out Bill Clinton and then a whole host of other things. But yeah, Game Awards came and went.
Boy, did
it was
it.
a time. My favorite characters, I'm just going to blanket statement this first one and say all of my anime waifus. I love you all for a whole host of reasons. You've pulled me through this year kicking and screaming. You've made me laugh. You've made me cry. You've made me smile. You've made me scream. All those things. So I thank you for my endless amounts of instant crushes on a whole host of anime girls. You're the best. Also wanted to shout out Odin from God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, okay.
Richard Schiff is not only doing the voice work, but also lending his likeness to the character. So it was very I guess what we've come to be used to with a lot of these gods. Like, he wasn't this giant, imposing, muscle-bound thing with long hair. He was a meek little mafioso-looking mob boss and used more of his wit as opposed to his powers and skills. You see him right off the jump. You see him like in the first half an hour of the game. So I guess lukewarm spoiler. Okay. But yeah, his portrayal of Odin was really great. I loved it. I love a lot of the characters from God of War Ragnarok. But yeah, I definitely say Odin sort of stands there near the top because, yeah, Richard Schiff, he just plays that Weasley little son of a bitch type of role really well and fits right into that. Jen Walters, aka She-Hulk, like mentioned the show earlier, just loved the realness and the vulnerability of that character, the relatability of that character as well. Anya from Spy Family, love her. Like, you know, child roles in film, TV, movies can always be hit and miss. And obviously this is animated, so that, you know, can sort of lessen the lack of acting chops. But the voice work and just the tone and the emotion this kid shows in every single episode, like this, she carries the show. And like her little inner monologues and trying to not only she wants to become a spy like her dad, or she enamors that her mum's this crazy assassin, or she's trying to win over the kids at school, or just the love she's got for their family dog and all this stuff. Like I'm all for it. And the crazy little emotions and emotes that she conveys through the manga and through the show is fantastic. And the other one is Amicia from A Plague Tale Requiem. Talked about her in great lengths on our spoiler cast you can check out on this Hungry Gamers RSS feed, but she's one of my favorite characters in video games, not only from this year, but many, many years prior. Like seeing her ride this wave of emotion and dealing with loss and trauma and second guessing herself and seeing how fragile she's. Like, you know, she's a girl in her teenage years trying to keep her brother alive, but also killing people to save her and her brother, and then trying to justify that and just constantly trying to find this energy to move forward to keep things going. It's really, really emotional, that game, and seeing her portrayal in the game and the voice work that accompanies it is some of the best you'll see in video games. So that's my list as far as favorite characters for 2022 that I've experienced. And I guess being the Hungry Gamers, we should probably end on our favorite things that we've played in 2022. So these games, looking at our lists, I think, you know, like we could asterisk Fortnite to a degree, but No Build did come out this year.
Yeah,
so,
that was my technicality. It was like, technically that came out this year. So.
Yeah, but everything else on this list is all 2022 releases. Oh, sorry, I lie. Final Fantasy VII Remake is on my list as well. That came out a couple of years ago, but I only got to experience it this year. But Miss Hart, let's jump into the games that we've played and loved and that have become our favorite things of 2022.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Number one on my list, Scorn. Well, it's not like the best one I've played, but it's the first one I've just brought up is Scorn.
Mm-hmm.
I am so happy that when I first discovered it, like first got a whiff of Scorn, which is a disgusting term to use now because of the game. I was so excited. I was absolutely ecstatic. I'm like, this is my jam. This is totally going to be my thing. And then it kept on getting delayed and more delays. And then we just didn't hear anything about it for like almost a year. And then it finally got its release, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was brilliant. It was atmospheric. It was grotesque. It was brilliant. Very, very happy with it. Realized it's not for everyone. I'm glad it got some kind of nod at the Game Awards, and yeah, it didn't let me down. I was very, very happy with Scorn.
Yeah, it was squelchy and creepy in all the best ways. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, we gushed over this game when we sort of got our hands on it and sort of gave our thoughts spoiler free on previous episodes of THG that you can check out. But yeah, it's a unique game. It's not for everybody. No. But anyone that does like a little bit, you know, left of center, a little bit of an unsettling experience, a little bit creepy. Anyone that loves H.R. Geiger or Alien, you know, easy, lazy comps. But that's what this is in a nutshell. And it's very memorable in a whole host of ways you'll probably never experience in gaming.
Exactly right.
So squelchy.
So squelchy.
So fleshy.
I was going to say bulbous.
That works. There's a lot of bulbousness.
Oh, boy.
I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. There's a lot of bulbousness in Scorn.
On a lighter note, kind of. Kind of. Cult of the Lamb.
There's a lot less dicks and bulbousness in Cult of the Lamb, that's for sure. But the themes can be pretty horrific.
Oh yeah, the themes are a little intense, but it's such a cute little game.
Cute.
Such a cute little game about evil and cults and sacrifice and all that kind of business. I'm also glad that it kind of got some acknowledgement. It got some nods, got some news time for the game. So and proud of it being a little Aussie, little
massive
Aussie,
monster.
Aussie
little
gem.
small studio based in sunny Victoria. Obviously, they've got some other members of that team, I think, in the UK, if I remember correct as well. But like, I'm bummed that Stray won Indie Game of the Year instead of Cult of the Lamb. That's one thing that irked me yesterday at the Game Awards.
Don't get me started.
Stray was fine, but Cult of the Lamb was far better, in my opinion.
Yeah, don't get me started.
Immortality is far better than Stray as well.
Tell me, yes, yeah, yeah. We're not. I'm glad we're not talking about the Game Awards. Even though
Yeah, but Cult of the Lamb, it was so great. Like, it was cute, it was creepy. I liked that there was like a farm/building sim element, and then obviously you had the dungeon crawler mechanic in there too, so you're getting sort of two games at once.
Yeah.
Then there's a card game in there that tied into stuff as well.
Yeah.
So there was, multiple different things you could do in this game. And I didn't know that I'd get so emotionally connected to some of my cult members, and they die of old age because there's an aging mechanic, and seeing these loyal cultists that you've had with you for a good long time keel over and die, and then it's like, what do I do? Do I respectfully bury them nicely? Do I turn them into manure so I can keep my crops going? What do I do here? But it is so cute and so whimsical, but also like creepy, and I love that it sort of danced that line pretty effortlessly.
Yeah, you learn very quickly not to name the characters after people you care about. Very quickly.
Yep.
But yeah, great game. Another one that came just completely like left of field, totally my thing. Metal Hellsinger.
Yeah, buddy.
Brilliant fucking game. Rhythm game that had metal and was like based in escaping hell. Yeah, brilliant. Doom vibes. With an incredible soundtrack. I really respect the level of the reach of artists that they got involved in this, because they could have just done their own track. I'm sure they could have just done their own kind of metal soundtrack, but they had these incredibly talented people in the metal scene get involved, collaborate, and create some pretty epic fucking background music for this game. I'm so happy that I enjoyed it for what I did. It was challenging at times. I had some struggle moments. So, but yeah, just a killer game. I'm sad it didn't get soundtrack, but whatever. But yeah, if you're a metalhead, I even if you've got no rhythm, give it a go.
Me.
Or you know what? I think you just go listen to the soundtrack. It's available, I think, online.
I think it's on Spotify, right? I think they've made a Metal Hellsinger soundtrack on Spotify there.
So
playlist.
Yeah, check it out.
Yeah, and if you're not metal inclined, obviously if you're on PC, there's mod packs where you can do, like we mentioned on an earlier potty, they've got a K-pop version, they've got jazz, they've got all kinds of different musical genres that you could remove that metal component out and drop these in and play this rhythm-based shooter and melee game to your heart's content. So there's a genre for everybody.
Damn right. Nothing like K-pop in hell.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. Do I know what they're singing? No, but is it a catchy beat? You're goddamn right.
Damn right.
The next one you got, mentioned earlier, it's on my list as well, Immortality. The FMV hit that sort of came out of... It came out of nowhere to a degree. Like, I don't think we really heard much about it until maybe 2 months or so before it dropped. I think it was sort of a bit of a stealthy release in that regard, but damn, did it impact.
Yeah, like I'm always for FMV, so I always kind of keep my eye on them. The benefit of being on Game Pass, so a lot of people that maybe wouldn't have given it a try, trying it out, and I just thought it was incredible how they designed the game and the concept of navigating this story through films and clips and clips of the like movies of the future and the past and the present, and then rewinding, editing, going back and forth and clicking into details within the scenes and such. I thought it was such a brilliant way to discover this story, and then obviously discover the story in your own way, because everyone kind of had a bit of a different experience. So I just thought it was great and really well done.
Very, very special game. Very special. Very, very unique. Very unlike things that I've played in a good long while. Like Sam Barlow, who helmed this, is a bit of an FMV savant. And I think Immortality is one of the better games I've played in 2022. That's for sure. Like it should be on many people's sort of Game of the Year lists. And well worth some time. It's on Game Pass as well. So if you're wanting to still play it and save yourself some money, if you're a Game Pass user, get on it. If you're not a Game Pass user, why the bloody hell not? But it's so good, and I still need to jump on the internet and see if someone's actually finally put together the supercuts of the 3 movies that you can sort of watch in their entireties, that you get to sort of canvas in the game itself to work out what's happened as far as the story as a whole. But I loved it. Like, this game blew me away. We've got a spoiler cast on this feed as well that you can peek after you're done listening to this episode if you want to get a little bit more deep and diving on Immortality. But yeah, it is a game that is going to stay with me for a while. So good.
Another game based on story and kind of picking your own adventure, choosing your own adventure a little bit. I wouldn't say it's completely like that, but there's a lot of choice and customization. Pentiment. Seeing this trailer a year or so back, I thought it was such a quirky looking game concept, and having attachments to Obsidian. I'm like, what is this? What is this game? And then once again, Game Pass. So no risk in trying it out, and I was absorbed. I was just so into the story and into these characters and how everything was designed, and learning like about historical events and terminology as well, and this the details on how much both like church impacted society on such a great length. So Pentiment was definitely a surprising one for me for how much I actually really got into it and enjoyed it. So
I'm excited. I still haven't played a lick of Pentiment, but that's going to be one of my holiday games I'm going to work through. And I'm so excited because not only the positive reviews, but the positive talk that you've shared on the potty here about it. And yeah, I remember when it sort of popped up on one of the Xbox or Microsoft showcases, and we were like, what is this? Like, this looks like something we're going to vibe with. A bit of a throwback point and click with some interesting humor and tone. And yeah, I'm very excited to see what Obsidian have done, because it looks like it's a very special game because it's reviewed insanely well. Like, I've seen 10s and stuff like that thrown around on this and whatnot. And
I'm gonna say maybe it's probably not gonna be for everyone, but it is enjoyable for a person that maybe likes to kind of go into like story a little bit more with a tiny bit of customization or change that you can kind of have with small options of change.
You know me, I'm horny for story, so I'm very excited for Pentiment.
Yeah, we talked about Fortnite No Build.
It's so good. It's so good. The bug has bit us, Miss Hart. We are Fortnite through and through now.
It's crazy. Like, I would really love to get a time machine to go back to like past like Ali and Brendan on the podcast and be like, guys, you will not believe it. You guys are going to get really into fucking Fortnite. And we would say, you are a liar. Get out of here.
Yeah. I'd slap myself. I'd slap future me and say, yeah, be gone.
Yeah.
You idiot.
I'd give mine a stern talking to. But here we are. They created no build mode, so we dipped our toes in, and lordy, we have fallen into that pool and not gotten out.
Yeah, and never left. We're just pruny. Like, we're two
pruny.
giant pruny individuals now. It's not pretty. Like, trying to do your shoelaces up with extremely pruny fingers or just anything in general is not a good time. But yeah, Fortnite No Build is... Yeah, a game like you said, I never expected us to jump into and embrace the way we have. I'm playing it just about every day or every other day for a little bit here and there with the various members of you know, the 8-Bit Nation or friends and family, and it's so good, and it's just the perfect melting pot of a game that's got, you know, it's got a degree of difficulty, but it's accessible. Mm-hmm. And then you throw in over the top the memeability of the game, the pop culture melting pot that it is, where you're getting all these skins from a whole host of universes all coming together to emote on each other and then blow each other up with a shotgun or swing a big hammer, which, fuck the hammers, by the way. Yes. Fuck the hammers. Go away, please, very quickly. But I love this game. It's just comfort food for me at the moment.
Same. Yeah. It's one of the more relaxing first-person shooters out there.
Yeah.
I feel. Speaking of relaxing, Bear and Breakfast.
Yeah.
It was just a cute little cozy game about a little bear starting his own little bed and breakfast business and the tales around that, and how the environment is being affected or impacted by tourism and such, and what good it does and what bad it does. And it was just a cute little cozy game. It was exactly what I was thinking it was going to be. And then my last addition is Destiny, the Witch Queen DLC, as I previously mentioned. A brilliant story, a brilliant campaign attached with incredible cast and a great story to move forward in the Destiny universe. So it led on to even greater things and more incredible story. And yeah, I was very, very happy with the Witch Queen. Probably one of the better DLCs that they've kind of dropped in more recent times.
I still haven't finished it.
That's
I'll
fair.
go back eventually, but I haven't finished it.
That's fair.
I think because I stupidly picked the hardcore difficulty and then tried to solo the missions.
Yeah,
I got through the
rough.
first one, and then the second one I'm like, fuck this, it's too hard for me, I'm out. So I parked it.
Yeah, that's a little rough.
But something that I did not park, which I have finished, and I enjoyed as much as the internet is sort of poking angrily at this game with sticks at the moment. The Callisto Protocol. Mm-hmm. Obviously, this is a game we've been very excited for and hyped about since it was announced. Done by Striking Distance Studios. You're playing the role of Jacob Lee, who's a freight transporter in the very near future, set out in space. And you know, the Dead Space homage and nods, it's rampant through this thing. It feels like this could be a spin-off from Dead Space. Like Glenn Schofield, who directed this game, who created Dead Space, you know, he took a lot of liberties from Dead Space in this, in a lot of good ways, don't get me wrong. But yeah, the reviews, I was surprised to see how varied they were. Like it's not a 10 out of 10 game, don't get me wrong. I would not score it like that. I'd score it probably a 7.5 to 8 just from my personal experience with it. I had a lot of fun with it. I liked the gore. I liked the creatures, the story. I didn't even know, like, until I started playing the game, that Josh Duhamel lent his voice and likeness to the game.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
know he was the lead. No, I don't know how I missed that until I booted up. I'm like, what? What are you doing here? I didn't even
I don't know how you missed that. I thought it was like
I'm
a
just
very
dumb.
key selling point for some people.
I'm just dumb. But like, it's a tight focus story. Like, it's only 8 hours or so. So like, if you are trying to sort of be a little bit more cost conscious leading up to Christmas and you want to try and play some games, just bear in mind that it's only 8 hours. They have got like a premium edition which costs a bit more money, and that comes with the season pass. They've already said that they're bringing in, you know, new modes, and they've got DLC slated for next year. So there is some more future slate planned for the Callisto Protocol, but I liked it. It's got me more excited for the Dead Space remake in January now, because this sort of scratched that space horror itch for me, and I'm like, fuck, I need more now. Like, let's go. Like, it's creepy. I like the gunplay. I actually like the countering and the dodging in the game, where you're sort of almost like a boxer. Like, you pivot on the stick to go left to dodge, but then if they attack you again, you got to go the other way. You can't just keep spamming left. So there is kind of this nice rhythm-based mechanic in it, where you're trying to avoid hits and then lay counter punches or counter blows with your melee weapon or your guns and stuff. So I like that little mechanic in it, but it is very much like a love letter to Dead Space. Like, it feels like this is set in the same universe almost, and that's not a bad thing. but I really enjoyed the Callisto Protocol. I'm not shit canning it like some of the other people out there. Have you played it yet?
No,
Have you jumped in?
No, dude, I was dead.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Well, Christmas gaming right there.
'Tis the season.
'Tis the season to dismember all kinds of nightmare creatures. A game that I mentioned earlier on the back of favorite characters, A Plague Tale Requiem, one of the best games I've played this year. I've got a spoiler cast available on the podcast feed if you want to sort of get my deeper thoughts on that, but very special, improves on the original game Plague Tale Innocence in every which way, and I can't wait for more of this, or just more from Asobo. Like they announced a game yesterday at the Game Awards, which looks pretty fun and interesting as well. But yeah, Plague Tale Requiem needs to be on your radar for games from 2022 that are worth playing. Another game that's won Game of the Year, which you didn't put on your list, surprisingly.
It's not on my list. I don't know why it's not on my list.
Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have not finished the game, nor will I probably ever finish the game. But like, I gave it a good old college try. I persisted and died again, and persisted and died again. And I can really appreciate what From Software have done with this game. It's very special and worthy of, winning a Game of the Year award from whatever outlet it might be. But yeah, Elden Ring, I just wanted to sort of hat tip everyone involved there, because even though it's not our collective type of game we enjoy, we both had a crack and have a lot of positive things to say about it, right?
Yeah. And like there's just been so much attachment to it, like relating to like communities and art and concept and all that sort of stuff that just evolved from the game that I just adore. So yeah, I loved it. I loved everything that came from it.
And they announced this week as well the free Colosseum mode, so you can jump in and sort of fight and play with other people. And yeah, so From Software just continuing to kick goals there. Another game I wanted to shout out, little mobile ditty called Marvel Snap. Fucking love this game. I play it so much. I was boasting the other day about I finally crossed level 1,000. I'm now up to nearly level 1,600 on this thing. I am just on a bit of a tear at the moment, and the frequency of the season changes annoys me a smidge, because it feels like there's a new season like every 2 damn weeks.
I keep on hearing that, yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a great Snap game in all the ways you want to interpret that. And yeah, it's just a great little card game, weaving in characters lesser known mainstream from the Marvel universe and letting it play out in a little 3-zone battle arena. It's just super fun. The fact that you can whip games out and have them finish within a couple of minutes is great, so it's not a massive time sink. And the card art, I just love the card art in this game. It's so pretty. So pretty. And yeah, it's just a great little game in between games, or in between, adverts on TV or whatever it might be. Like, it's just really, really fun, and it's become my mobile game of choice. Finally got around to playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. I'm very, very happy I did this year. Loved it. Can't say enough good things about that game. Cannot wait for the second entry into this remake saga that they're playing with. John and I were talking about actually playing Crisis Core, the new, like the other remake that's just come out this week that sort of connects into this world as well. So might try and play that over the Christmas break. Couple other games. Obviously, we mentioned Immortality earlier. The Quarry.
Oh, yeah.
Loved The Quarry.
Quarry was good.
It was the best Supermassive entry of 2022 by a long way. That's for sure. Really, really enjoyed it. These mainline standalone games that Supermassive are doing in this sort of horror QTE-based subgenre that they've perfected. I love it. I cannot wait to see what they do next. Horizon Forbidden West. Brilliant. One of my favorite games of the year. Big chunky spoiler cast we recorded way back in sort of February, March, if you want to sort of get our thoughts on that. But improved on everything from the original. One of the prettiest games you'll ever see. Really like the narrative, the character building, the sort of the arcs that a lot of the characters, both from a hero and a villain, sort of get to see unfold on screen. And you know what? It's just post-apocalyptic cyber dinosaurs. That's, right in my wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And the last game I want to mention, which is, I guess you could say, probably my game of the year, as far as if I had to, gun to the head award, that's winner, it would be God of War Ragnarok for me. It is very, very special. takes all the greatness of the 2018 release and knocks it out of that realm into a whole nother realm. The voice acting's top notch, the animation's top notch, the graphics in general stunning. The story, some of the best you'll see. The soundtrack, obviously it won soundtrack of the year. I know we were sort of saying that, you know, something like a Metal Hellsinger could certainly fit that realm as well, but what old Bear and his team put together in God of War, like, not many games can sort of ramp up that epicness with just a couple of notes, and that does it with this, where you hear like a horn or a drum beat or like a throat sing come out of nowhere and you're like, oh fuck, something's happening, big trouble's on its way, let's get it. But yeah, God of War Ragnarok, very, very special. Got a spoiler cast that just dropped on that one a couple of weeks ago too, so you can check that out in detail. I think it's our longest spoiler cast to date. I think it went for over 2.5 hours.
Ooh,
that
snap.
one, so it was a big boy. But yeah, that's our favorite things of 2022, Miss Hart. We did it.
Yeah, go a good year. We had a good year of content, both across the board. Like some good TV, some good movies, some good anime, and some great casts and characters, as well as video games. Kind of spoiled.
All of that stuff you love. All of that stuff. Yeah, we're very well looked after, and we've got plenty of other good things on the way. It's an endless churn of good content dropping from those, you know, subsets we just mentioned. Games always dropping, streaming services bringing out new content, stuff going to the big screen. It's just a never-ending cycle. But hopefully there's some things on our list that we've shared that you may have not checked out, and hopefully we've managed to sort of, I guess, sell the story or sell the concept enough for you to go, you know what, maybe I need to check this out now, because that sounds like it is something for me. But yeah, we've only got 2 episodes to go for 2022. Obviously, next week you'll be hearing our annual airing of gaming-related grievances with Festivus.
Oh boy.
Still got some time to get some more entries in, so yeah, head on over to our socials at We Are 8-Bit or videogamesculture.com/awards to get your opinions and grievances in. And then the week after, we're going to be closing things off with the Biddies, which is our entirely community-driven awards. So those winners are wholly and solely decided by you, the listener. We don't have any say in who gets those awards, so I'm very curious to see what the 8-Bit Nation respectively say is the game of the year, the film of the year, TV show, indie, so on and so forth. Yeah. But yeah, then we'll take a couple of weeks off. We're going to rest and recover over the Christmas holiday period, then be back bigger, badder, better next year? Question mark?
Oh, next year? Question mark.
Yeah, but Miss Hart, anything else you want to say before we close this studio off for the third last time of 2022?
Yeah, get on Discord. Let us know. What did we get right? What did we get wrong? Is there something that we missed? Or what do you want to tell us what your favorite things are?
That's it. Yeah. So Discord, you can find the direct link to our Discord in the podcast show notes. Obviously, you can follow me at Brendan 8-Bit. You can follow Ali at Miss Ali Hart. You can follow us all as a whole at We Are 8-Bit. But be sure to rate, review, subscribe us and all the other podcasts you listen to on the regular, because those emotional lights get kept on by those ratings and reviews. They mean the world to us. Takes no time, costs you no money, and it's just it's a good positive thing to pay forward, especially during the holiday season. But 8-Bit Nation, we are out for now, but we'll see you again real soon. Much love.
And stay hungry.
You've been listening to The Hungry Gamers, one of many gaming and geek culture related podcasts from the 8-Bit Collective over on 8bit.net. Check out more episodes on your podcast service of choice. And while you're there, please be sure to rate and subscribe. Until next time, boys and girls, stay hungry.